Welcome to the LANCave. We're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
Hello!
Yeah, and we're here talking gaming, video games, which is part of gaming. We can talk tabletop and other things too, but we're here every single Thursday live on Facebook. We're also on YouTube and SoundClouds and Spotify and wherever you want your podcast, however you like to ingest us. We try to be there for you to partake. And I hope you're having a great week. What about you, On? You having a good week?
We're at week, 72,000 of stay at home, but I honestly can't complain too much. Family's healthy. The weather's starting to get warm in Texas though, which is a tad annoying, but that's Texas for you. But all in all, pretty well. You doing okay?
Yeah, good. We just went to the beach. We're trying to make that like a regular thing because I'm like 7 to 10 minutes from the beach, depending on which beach I go to.
Sure.
So
you walking? You driving?
We drove over there. Yeah, it's too far. It's like a 7 to 10 minute drive.
Okay.
Maybe like the one we did today was 15 minutes. So, but we were trying to go to a beach that's not as populated, and even the beach that's not as populated, people were not social distancing. So, yeah, we're trying to get out of the house and be sane. As you know, you do your walks. I do mine as well. Try to get out and be safe. But it's funny because you mentioned week 72. I couldn't remember how many weeks it's officially been for the safer at home, stay at home, whatever. And nope. John Krasinski's YouTube show is how I watched his recent his Good News show. And was like, Oh, okay, it's week 7. Like, okay, now I know. Obviously, it's different in parts of the country, but yeah, it feels like forever. It really feels like forever. But we're here.
Yeah, and I feel like you got to add at least 1 week onto that just for like he started off. So it's probably like week 8.
It's probably 8 or 9. It's probably a little bit more for us. We started social distancing before they had any rules against it. Not that we were like, oh, we're cool before. And I was like, we think it's going to happen.
So we're just getting distancing prepared. Before it was cool, man.
I was like, as soon as I said that, I'm like, that sounds wrong. But no, I meant like we started like before people started hoarding. I was like, I'd go to the grocery store and I'd buy a little bit of this and buy a little bit of that, like not crazy amounts, but just grabbing things here and there. So when they went into lockdown, I was like, okay, I'm good. So didn't get hit with the toilet paper or anything. But anyways, you didn't come here to talk about that. Everyone else in the world is talking about COVID. You came here to listen to 2 grown men talk about video games. And we got some really, really cool stuff. Today we got some
Been a busy day.
We did have a busy day. Ghost of Tsushima. We'll start off with that one. I have good feelings about this, and I have mediocre feelings about this. The beginning of it, looking at the horse's tail here and some of the clothing, I just really was unimpressed by Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch usually doesn't, usually has better, better quality in my opinion. But at the same time, the gameplay, I can't really knock. It looks great. But the beginning of this, I was unenthused. I thought Whitney'd be really into it, and she was like, it looks okay. The gameplay looks great, though. What did you think about the beginning part's kind of the open world, the show and exploration?
Well, number 1, music off the hook.
Oh yeah,
the soundtrack is good, and by good I'm downplaying it. It's great. Mm-hmm. So even if you like nothing else about this, I do recommend when this game comes out to like look up the soundtrack on YouTube or something. If you like that, like some classical stuff, some of the strings in there were amazing. I'm kind of with you on the graphics, but I'll say the environment looks great. Like the textures look good, especially after playing Final Fantasy VII for the past several weeks, where the textures are sometimes very subpar, and even mediocre. The texture here, the environment, like the trees, the bushes, the grass that we're all looking at, like all of that looks great. Now, where I do agree, the player model does not look great, and I'm wondering if there's gonna be some patching if this was like the final product. I guess it feels like it is, but at the same time, like I didn't have a problem with his clothes, but like if you look at like the front of him and like the front of all the enemies that you'll see coming up, like I was like, okay, there's they're they're dudes.
Yeah, and
whatever.
and this isn't next gen. I mean, this is current gen.
Yeah.
So we're not. I'm not critiquing it to say, oh, this isn't up to par graphically. I'm surprised
No.
that the studio, some of the stuff was a little below the benchmark that I assumed that they would be trying to hit. But at the same time, like I said, there's so much. You mentioned the music. Good music is great when it's great, and it's even better when it's hardly noticed, but it adds to the ambiance. And there's quite a few games that do that. Obviously, Red Dead had some amazing sections where the music is the thing. Like, here, listen to this music while you're riding the horse. But here there were some really subtle pieces that I really liked. I like the exploration. I felt like this is like Red Dead meets Assassin's Creed in a samurai, in Japan, and I was happy about it. I think part of Whitney's reaction probably was because she just got done playing Red Dead, and then she saw this and was like, "Oh, this isn't as good as Red Dead." Which, yeah, Red Dead was almost like photorealistic in some cases. Like, this is more artsy, and I think it looks good, but more importantly, because gaming is about gaming, the gameplay looks really good, and this is very story driven, so I'm happy about that.
It really makes me think Breath of the Samurai, to be honest. Just and I know that that's natural, just given like the location and like
Sure.
where it is, but like the way that they opened up. Obviously we're not playing the commentary here, but I encourage you guys to. It's an 18-minute long state of play, by the way.
It goes well though.
Lots, a deep dive, but like so they open up on that scenic view, and they were like, we wanted exploration to be the thing, and so. I was listening to it on low volume because my kid was going to sleep, but I was like, did at any point did they say anything along the lines of like, you can go everywhere that you can see right here? Because
they didn't use those words.
Get out of that.
Yeah, they didn't use those words to my recollection. It wasn't like Skyrim or Breath of the Wild, where they're like, if you see it, you can go there. Look at this mountain. You can go up there.
So I'd be really curious about that, because just everything like that looked great.
Sure.
And that excites me. I'll say what doesn't excite me, and probably what excites maybe you, but like the samurai combat, I'm not extremely looking forward to, because I suck at parrying. We've talked about this many times. Owen is not a parrying kind of guy, and so I'm hoping that, unlike from games, that there is an easy mode if I suck too bad at it.
Yeah, well, to me, and I actually queued this up specifically to kind of A/B this, because I really liked that they showed. When I saw the samurai section, the first thing that I thought was, this is going to be a little bit more daunting and stressful. The systems, they're like, oh, look, here's the different stances, and here's the parrying. I was like, that seems, not that I wouldn't dig it, because I'd probably be okay with it, but a lot of my gaming, I'm trying not to stress out as much, with everything else going on in the world, and I'm like, you know what, I don't need that extra stress. This section is what I really enjoyed, seeing the ghost, the stealth action, which unfortunately Whitney like left the room like before this, and so I'm gonna have to show this to her later, because I think this is more of her alley. She loves Assassin's Creed. She loves loves those kind of games, and the strategy involved in this, to me, I feel like this is the way I would play it. I may do a separate playthrough where I try it as a samurai and see how I like the combat. If it's not too difficult, maybe I'll like it. This seemed to me like a very enjoyable way and almost a cerebral way to play. Strategizing. Let me throw these fireworks to distract the people, and of course they stupidly go towards the fireworks. But also, here's a kill and then an immediate kill afterwards. Very Assassin's Creed, not just with the jumping, but saying you've surprised someone, you have an attack of opportunity kind of thing. I really like this. The samurai portion, honestly, I it's not that I didn't like it. I just felt like that may have been a little bit more daunting in the moment, stressful, where this is, you can take a beat, figure out, assess the situation. Yeah.
I'll say the other thing about this particular mode, where like I would definitely prefer to stealth. I hope, because you can see the goal in this particular mission. It says something like destroy a black powder cache. So I'm also hoping that in addition to like some stealth mode, maybe I don't have to like kill everybody.
Sure.
Like this dude, he just like straight like that guy was crawling away. He straight up murdered him. I'm kind of hoping that there is opportunity to not kill everybody. Now, again, we've talked about this many times where it's like I'm not opposed to it whenever the game is presenting you with enemies, but whenever it comes to realistic games like this, I don't like doing it all the time. I don't like the whole entire game being me just like destroying everyone. If there's like an opportunity to just straight up sneak right by them, get my mission done with minimal casualties, like I like that kind of thing, because that's how I would do it if it was me in real life. I wouldn't want to have to take out everybody. I would just want to get what I want to get done. So I hope that there's that opportunity as well.
Sure.
To mix it up and not always feel like I just have to go around and just, you know, sneak everybody. But if the only choices are sneak or samurai, then I'm going to choose sneak like every time possible.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and that's kind of how I was feeling about it. I will say that I do agree. Like, that's one of the things that I liked about Metal Gear is, you know, you could go and kill everybody, but there are non-lethal, actions that you can take, because these enemies, you know, depending on the enemy that you can't always talk your way out of situations. As much as we'd like to do that in like a Fallout or Mass Effect kind of way, these are people who are like, they're unfortunately, you know, the kind of very one note, I'm just guarding this thing and I'm going to attack anything that comes at me. They're already in that mode, so you can't convince them to be otherwise. So sneaking around them is what you'd want to do, or knock them out, something non-lethal. Yeah. So that could be cool. I haven't seen it. I'm hopeful that you can do that. Just also, I like the variety. I like being able to complete a mission in different ways. Like, if you really analyze it, is there a way you could beat the mission without killing anyone? Like, or minimal, where you can sneak in, light that thing on fire and get out, and then all the people that were there, I guess you'd have to find a good escape route, because everyone who's there is going to then come after where you're going, but come after where you are, because everything's blowing up. But either way, I want the variety, and I hope that's what we get with this.
Life.
Yeah, exactly. But I was not disinterested to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to buy this game. I was just kind of disappointed a little bit in some of the graphics, but at the same time, I'm still going to buy it. Between this and The Last of Us 2, and sorry, I'm gonna jump over to it because there's the other bombshell.
So we got to pivot.
You can pivot?
Okay. No, we have to pivot. The other thing that's going to launch on the same exact day as Ghost of Tsushima.
That's what I meant. I was like, I'm jumping the gun. I'm just putting I'm front loading everything, but Paper freaking Mario, which I did say, I've seen a couple YouTubers who thought that this was, thought that was the next thing that we were going to get out of Mario. I mean, knew we were going to get the Mario, the Mario remasters and everything, but I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember them announcing this before.
No, this was announced today in a tweet.
Yeah, because I had to double check myself. I'm like, I don't remember this at all, and I'm thinking I'm going nuts here. It's announced in a tweet and it comes out next month, because Nintendo can do that, and Nintendo
July.
This is 2 months. Sorry, see,
we're still in May.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you're.
It comes out July 17th, the same exact day as Ghost of Tsushima.
Exactly. So this is what happens when you're in lockdown. Yeah, but every day is the same. But this just looks wonderful. It's of course diametrically opposed to Ghost of Tsushima, but wow. I mean, it looks fun. Finally got some gameplay here. So most of what we got here is cinematic. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I really want to see the combat. The problem with Paper Mario is there's been like 2 or 3 really good ones, and then there was 2 stinkers with sticker. I always forget the names. Yeah. There's like sticker something, and then there's that one that has color in the title. This one's called Origami King, by the way. Mm-hmm. Paper Mario, the Origami King. So it has all the makings of adorable, but I do just want to see like how the combat plays out. I want to see if there is the cool, whimsical story that we've had in the original and in Thousand Year Door. But what a drop! Like you said, in terms of like they haven't mentioned this game. We didn't officially know it was coming. There was guests, there was theories on like this would be the next thing we got out of Mario, and for good reason. You know, I was also kind of hoping Mario Golf, but you know, someday maybe. But literally, I log into work and I'm like doing my thing, and then I just see a drop in my Discord server that's like, "Hey, Paper Mario." What?
Yeah.
What? Paper Mario, new Nintendo. What do you do?
Yeah.
It's just this amazing thing. They do it on this. They're launching it on the same day as Ghost of Tsushima. They drop the tweet literally hours before the state of play happens. Now they didn't do it. They didn't do it obviously epically. It's not an 18-minute deep dive, and like you mentioned, it's very much not Ghost of Tsushima, but at the same time, it's still just competing companies like Nintendo just playing just a little chess. They just moved their bishop, you know, just a couple spaces over.
I was just I know I was floored. So on our interaction, this like you were like your message to me, I didn't hear about it because I was in conference calls like all day, and you'd messaged like, yeah, Nintendo just dunked on Ghost. I'm like, what happened? So immediately I'm like, I'm looking for a tweet where Nintendo's like dissing it or saying something about like that's never coming to us, whatever, or maybe something about like them not liking a Western studio doing it easy, like, you know, I don't know, my brain was just going like, what could it be? Oh, you drop Paper Mario the same day. Wow. I do think that they feel like the Venn diagram for this would be pretty separated. Yeah. There's a few people like us that are probably like, yeah, I'll get that as well, but a lot of people aren't. At the same time, I am waiting. Like you said, I want to see the combat. I want to see more about it. I have not played a good Paper Mario game because what was the one that you mentioned? Was it the Color or something? That was the one that I played. It was okay. I didn't play the original. I've seen people play it. I'm like, okay, I get it. It's cool. Like for the same reason, and everyone can hate on me. That's fine. But like, I also didn't play Super Mario RPG. I haven't played. Like, I should play that. I totally should play that. It totally should.
Oh, you haven't played Super Mario RPG?
Yeah, I know, that's right? Great. So that was
it's different than this. It's made by Square, and it did not age well, but it's still classic.
Sure, that was Super Nintendo, right?
Yeah,
that's why.
Back when Square was Square Soft.
Yeah, see, that's why that's on my gap. So you'll see like there's this commonality where it's like Patrick didn't play this game that everyone had played that like is totally up his alley. Yeah, I didn't have a SNES, so yeah, I
think they put it on the SNES Classic.
Pretty sure they did. I need to break out. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do that, but I kind of want to do some retro gaming like consistently, and I keep saying that for like the past 2 years, but I do want to do that. Anyways,
Sticker Star and Color Splash. Okay. Sticker Star, I think, was Wii. Yeah. No, Sticker Star was 3DS, and that game was not good.
Okay.
At all.
Yeah.
And Color Splash was also just very whatever. But I have high hopes. I think this just continues Switch's long line of awesome. The coolest thing about this is that we had been kind of talking about like, what's Nintendo doing? Like, not a bad way. Like they missed the 35th anniversary stuff. They still haven't got to talk about, and E3 is not happening. So it's kind of, we're still wondering if that's going to happen. And after Animal Crossing, which by the way, their sales numbers came out. I'll talk about that in a second. I didn't put it down there, but after Animal Crossing, there was like nothing, and so they dropped this. It's a July release. It reminds me exactly of last year. Unlike last year, where we had now have Sony games coming out this year. Last year, there was just Fire Emblem all by its lonesome coming out in the summer. Animal Crossing, dude, 11 million copies in 11 days is what it sold. It averaged 1 million copies a day for the first 11 days, which is insane. It's now like the 7th highest selling Switch game. Anyways,
perfect timing. It's perfect timing. It was going to be a good game anyways, no matter what. But the fact that everyone needed this. There's a graphic. I should have saved it because I think of things like while we're doing the show, and I'm like, I should have saved that. But someone redid the Animal Crossing logo, and it says basically therapy. And I was thinking, yeah.
There's a comic artist that I follow where like they put up like the different ways that you're dealing with COVID, and one of the things was playing was playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
And the thing that I wanted to say that was crazy about this is like with the Ghost thing, like I'm still probably planning on buying it unless like it just gets review bombed. I'm not gonna pre-order it yet. I want to wait. If it turns out good, then I'll probably order it and see if I can get that $10 off that Walmart does sometimes. But like honestly, we're going to be playing Last of Us in June.
Yep.
And Chris mentioned it on my Facebook page where he was like, this is probably like with Paper Mario, that's probably going to be like the thing to want to play after Last of Us. You're going to play this super depressing game and then it's like, Paper Mario, let's go. And I think I'm on the same kind of page with that where I might not play Ghosts right away and I might put in. I still am probably going to wait for reviews on both. I'm still planning on buying both as of right now, but I think just with how little time I have to game right now, it's taking me forever. I'm still not done with Final Fantasy VII. I don't want to just start pre-ordering everything like I normally would.
Sure.
So just crazy.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Like Final Fantasy VII. So I think I told you where I am. I just finished. I think it's chapter 12. When the big thing. Spoilers for Final Fantasy. Like OG Final Fantasy. The plate. It just happened. So this isn't something new to the remake. Like I think that's.
You just say the plate. You don't have to say what happened to the plate.
Yeah, I just said the plate. And
it could be a dinner plate. It could be a paper plate. It could be a Chinette.
That happened, but yeah, that's right. Because I messaged you about it, and I was like, dude, like they really, really like had a slow burn on this, but it worked really well. So that's where I am. I am taking tomorrow off for my own mental health and do some things I need to do anyways around the house. And I'm going to be playing some Final Fantasy VII. I don't know how far I'll get, but yeah, I think I'm going to do that for a good chunk of the day. It's great, and I'm with you. Like, we have limited amount of time that we can game where we have adult responsibilities, parental responsibilities, both husband responsibilities, where we can't just game for like 8 or 10 hours a day on the weekend. Like that's not how it happens anymore. But that's okay.
Well, I mean, yesterday I was playing too, and there's the first time I actually got like actively annoyed with the game, there's a point that you're in, I'm near the end, and there's a thing where like you're on a tunnel type thing, and you're crawling, and I got stuck. It wouldn't let me. You look at this thing and it gives you the opportunity to press circle to go back, and I'm just sitting there slamming on circle. I'm like, let's go back, and Cloud just wouldn't move, and so at that point, like I was done. Once I get annoyed, I have a hard time like continuing for the day. So I reloaded the save this morning just to make sure that I wasn't like permanently stuck or anything, and I just played around I just fought some stuff and did a little grinding for like 20 minutes. But hopefully whenever I get back to it, maybe tonight, that it won't be. But yeah, like I've only been playing video games for maybe I don't know, 4 or 5 hours a week. And for some people listening there, or that aren't like gamers are like, man, that's a lot of time. It's really not for me. Not for somebody who like finished Persona 5 in like 2 weeks and things like that, where like 5 hours is not a lot. I've been taking a lot of breaks, and so whenever it comes to stuff like Ghosts and Paper Mario launching on the same day, two studios that I love, I really am happy for Sucker Punch and that they got this deep dive. I think that this thing hopefully sold a lot of people on the game, because it's probably going to be the only look we get. So I definitely encourage you, if you like that samurai feel, if you like that third-person open world, the thing is 18 minutes long, so go check that out. And then if on the flip side, if you're a Switch owner and you like jolly little, somewhat RPG type kooky Mario games, then you should definitely check out Paper Mario, because it's probably going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's almost like something for everything right now. There's so much going on in video games. Like this week, like it didn't hit me until today, how much news we had this week. Where it's not like oh crap, we have like 30 stories. It's like every single story has something like hefty. Next one, in particular, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered.
This looks so good.
Wow. And I did see, because the first thing that I thought of is the first thing, you and I have talked about Tony Hawk. It's like, okay, how do you do it without the soundtrack? And they said they have most of the songs. So I'm assuming there's some that they didn't get.
I didn't see Rage on there.
Yeah. So I'm sure that there's some that, probably Tom Morello and Zach Rocca were like, I don't want to license that out. Because they have to give that okay. At the same time, the soundtrack that's on there looks good, and the game looks great too. So I've got to play this. Pro Skater 2 is one of my favorite games of that era. It was just so tight. The controls were good. It was just silly and stupid enough, but at the same time had some, I wouldn't say realism, but it was arcadey enough, but not too much.
Yeah, I really liked how they did this trailer too, where they showed the side by side, or they showed or not side by side really, but they showed the original and how it looked, and then they flipped the little thing on it to show you just this is a remaster. Whenever you're looking at this game, like if you're talking about like remastering that old PlayStation games, which a lot of PlayStation games could use this love. Talking about remastering this era, this is how you do it. You don't just up-res it. Like you do what they did in this. It looks good. Hopefully it still controls relatively similar to the way that it did. It's not Skate 4, sorry guys, but it's still classic. And the fact, couple things in there, you get Tony Hawk 1 and 2, it's only $40. It's not $60. So that's a great price for a remaster. I don't generally shout out collector's editions very much, but the collector's edition comes with the one of Tony Hawk's boards that you could get in, I think 2, maybe 1 also, but like his brand of board, and it's only $110 for the board in the game, which was pretty cool. Exciting. Glad that they got most of the music. Glad that it looks as good as it does. Glad that it takes me back. That's one of the like you mentioned with 2. I spent so much time playing that game. I'm excited to get it, at least to jump back in. I sucked at 1. I remember that. 2 was just light years better than 1, so hopefully they've improved the 1's controls a little bit.
I feel like Tony Hawk 1 and 2 are like Warcraft 1 and 2, where Warcraft, like OG Warcraft, was like, okay, it's good, and then Warcraft 2 came out and you're like, oh, that's what this is supposed to be, that's what this is about. And hardcore, at the time we were eating up whatever we could when it came to those kind of games, but I'm loving it. What I'm not loving, though, is apparently Assassin's Creed Valhalla might not even hit 60 frames per second on the Series X. And I love your comment, which begs to differ. What the crap? Begs the question. Sorry, I'm exhausted here. Begs the question, what the crap are the developers doing? I had heard in the past a lot of developers, and I will say this is true for a lot of games, that 60 frames for some games does not have as cinematic of a feel. Obviously, now, and that is true because it doesn't look and doesn't feel as cinematic. But in my opinion, there should be for next gen, we should be looking at having a setting, which I think we've had games quite a while that have had this, a setting to say, do you want to prioritize your frame rate or do you want 4K? Like to basically say you can do 4K at 30 or you can do a lower resolution at 60. And a lot of people will be like, no, I want my frames. Give me 60 frames and 1080 60, right? And I don't know, it's just really surprising that it's not that they've chosen not to. It's that it may not hit it on Xbox Series X. And Xbox Series X is supposed to be the most powerful of the two consoles.
it really makes me wonder. We still don't know because they just haven't said it because Series X has the marketing on Valhalla. They just, there's no reveal of the PS5 hardware yet. But I want to know: are you going to be able to hit it on any console? Can you hit it on PS5 or not, or is it going to be PC only? Because these are Ubisoft games, so they're going to be played on PC, which a lot of people do play things like Assassin's Creed on computer for this very reason. Like the thing about this is like, I get that it's not cinematic. There's a lot of times where I don't care. I can't necessarily always notice, but like, just like how you're playing first-person shooters, like you notice when a first-person shooter is not 60 frames.
Oh, agreed.
It's extremely obvious.
Yes.
But something like this, I get it, but at the same time, I'm not a developer, so I'm not trying to criticize, but at the same time, it's just like, this was supposed to be the generation. Like the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, which the One X is far superior to the Pro. They're great little pieces of hardware, but like they weren't up to snuff. This was supposed to be the gen where you're finally like, we're competing with PCs, and PlayStation 5, which we're going to talk about in a second, is competing with PCs in one way, but I still want to know, am I gonna get the frames? I shouldn't have to sacrifice that. Like, maybe I only get 1440 and 60 and not true 4K. I think that should start being the focus, is like maybe like a 1440 upres
Sure.
to 4K, but like we should be beyond 10K. I got a dope 55-inch 4K TV. I want to play 4K 60 frames per second, and if I can't play that, I want to pay 14 for. I want to be above my last generation TV at this point. And again, I'm not trying to be critical. It's just I don't understand why it can be hit on PC and why it can't be hit on this Series X, which is a beefy console.
Yeah.
That's, again, I'm not hardware. I'm not a developer. I don't understand where the disconnect is and why it can't happen yet. Did they not have enough time with the hardware?
That may be it.
Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
That may be it, because they didn't say for, I don't remember, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please do. I don't believe that they said during the presentation that this was optimized for Series X. I know they mentioned a bunch of others, but I can't remember if they said it for this one. Because if it is optimized for Series X, like a lot of the others that they mentioned, then it should be able to get close or hit 60 if the Xbox is that good. Of course, it's not going to be good as the best computer, because the best gaming PC is going to cost you thousands of dollars. Consoles are always about accessibility. They're about ease of play. They're about compatibility of like, I don't want to, have to worry about patches and stuff. Now consoles kind of do it for you. You don't have to worry about the normal OS, multiple things where all it does is play games. So yeah, it's disappointing that's going on. Also, what I thought was disappointing at first, and now I'm just like, I don't know how to feel about this. I'm going to jump over because I figure we'll talk about PlayStation 5 here in a second. But EA basically said they're doing their own kind of upgrading when it comes to their games. So different from what Microsoft's doing. Microsoft's basically saying, hey, we're supporting smart delivery. Wherever you buy it, you get it. EA is saying, we're going to let you upgrade your game for free to the next version, to the next generation version, which to me, there's a big differentiator there. Does that mean, because Xbox is saying you'll be able to take it with you to the next generation, does that mean that the SKU is different? Does that mean that when I buy a game, like what's the difference? If EA's like basically saying we're allowing you to upgrade this for free, how is that different than what Xbox is doing? Maybe because they wanted to make sure you could do it on PlayStation as well, which they did straight up mention.
That's the thing, is that they weren't very specific enough, and it's just, are they going to charge you is the other thing.
I thought they said it was for free. Maybe I was wrong.
Well, EA has confirmed that it's... Yeah, I'm talking about EA.
Yeah.
EA has confirmed that its upcoming games for the current generation can be upgraded for free to run on next generation hardware. So that's what I don't understand what they're doing, unless they're just like, if they're saying they confirmed that it can be upgraded for free, are they just not willing to like do every one of their titles, or are they doing it through, what is the EA system called?
Origin?
Yeah, you're right. Are they doing it through the Origin thing and not through your Xbox Live PlayStation account, like you're saying?
Yeah.
Like, so does that mean, like, if I bought it on Xbox One, could I get it on PS5? I highly doubt it, but that would be sweet.
That'd be amazing, but there's no way they'd do it.
Yeah, I just don't understand why they aren't just willing to go along with it, unless you're absolutely right that they're trying to leave it open to do both consoles. I don't know. It still seems like EA has the opportunity there to be like, nah, pay us $5. And honestly, if that's all it was, I don't mind that. I don't, I think for free is definitely the consumer friendly thing to do. But at the same time, it's not like upgrading this thing to the next console is cheap, or they're not just like flipping a switch and saying, okay, it's been up-res and everything for Series X. Like, since backwards compatibility already exists, no matter what, you're going to be able to play your Xbox One game on Series X, and theoretically you're, no matter what, going to be able to play your PS4 game on PS5. So up-resing isn't free or cheap, I imagine. So I don't mind if they were going to be like, pay us $5. I'm like, okay, cool,
yeah,
whatever. But it's just weird that they just wouldn't, like, they have an opportunity here to be like, yeah, we'll do, we're in it. Like, slap us down as a whatever Microsoft's called.
Yeah,
what's their thing called?
So there's smart delivery and all that.
Smart delivery. So, yeah, we're down for smart delivery.
That's what made me feel like weird about this. I'm like, this is different. Why would they come out, and it wasn't like a, hey, I'm doing it too. They were basically saying, hey, we're going to let you upgrade your games for free. And immediately I was thinking, but isn't that what Xbox is already doing? Does that mean that PlayStation, that there are certain games, maybe it's up to the developer when it comes to PlayStation to say, you can choose to have it for free, or you can choose to, maybe it's PlayStation's view is going to be, you can choose to upgrade it for free, or you can choose to pay, to have your consumer pay X amount to upgrade.
I'd be completely fine with that.
I would be too. Excuse me. I would be too. I feel like, excuse me. I feel like maybe this was EA's way to say, hey, we're doing our thing. All of our stuff is good. No matter where you are, you're good. Because I feel like we haven't heard what PlayStation is going to do on that. They've been cagey about some of the stuff. So maybe that's why. Maybe they're out there saying, it's fine with us because there are some developers who aren't going to do that. Maybe Bethesda or others want to charge you every time for the game, or want to charge you the up. But if it's $5 or $10 to go from my PS4 version to my PS5 version, yeah, I mean, I bought Last of Us 2 twice. Sorry, Last of Us 1 twice. I bought Grand Theft Auto 5 3 times. So
I bought it twice.
You bought it twice, see? Yeah. So I bought it 3 times because I bought it on PC at a really good deal, but to play with people who are also playing on PC.
I bought Final Fantasy VII Remake twice.
You bought Final Fantasy VII twice because you couldn't wait to get that steelbook. When did you end up getting that steelbook? Was it Saturday?
Yeah, I got it the next day.
Okay, so it wasn't that bad, but you had that bad boy preloaded digitally.
Yeah,
and
no, it wasn't bad. It was a total, like, not the right move to make or anything with it. There it is, right there. Yeah. But I'll definitely pay them another $5 to give me the PS5 version and maybe some textures.
Yeah, please give me some textures. So by the way, you were talking about having that one snag. I had a snag in the church. When you're on the upper part of the church, if you know what I'm talking about. He wouldn't move. He was just like, I'm like, what? Yeah. So I had a frustrating part on that, and Whitney was kind of like laughing at the whole situation because I'm sitting here like, I've been drumming up this game. I've been drumming up Final Fantasy VII. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And she's like, really? Like, that's what's happening right now. But for the most part, I'm loving it. Like, every now and then something like that, but I'm loving it. And we'll talk more about Final Fantasy VII when we do our full spoiler cast and stuff. Finishing Wall Market, I wanted more. I liked what I got, but I wanted more of it. I don't know about you.
I'll wait to talk. Like, I liked it a lot. But there's things there's a lot of things that I'm also missing because I'm not getting to hear everything, which has been a little sad. So I might have to replay some things whenever I get access to the chapters, because I'm missing a lot of banging soundtrack.
Yeah.
I'm missing a lot of voice acting parts where I'm just relying on the subtitles, because I can't really like play with. I have really nice HyperX Cloud headphones, but those also cancel out like noise outside. So
you can't do that. Yeah, and good for you for being like the responsible parent on that. To one, care about your kid, and two, not to offload that on the wife. Like that's good.
I like living.
Yeah, exactly. I will say one thing that you're not missing out on, because you're not, you may or may not have noticed this, but like when you start dialogue with a character, if NPCs are talking or if there's a radio near, you have all of that going on at the same time. So there was one section where I had a dialogue with where I'm starting a dialogue with a character. You're having it was either cutscene or whatever you want to call it. This is my actual dialogue section, and I have NPCs talking while I'm having my dialogue, and there's a TV. So you have all this cacophony, and they're all the same level or almost the same level. And that was jarring to me. And there's multiple times in the game where you're like, could you enable, like, if I start talking, can you shut up the NPC who's talking about like whatever's happening? Like that just really, I don't know if you've noticed that, but it really bothered me.
No, not really. But I commented when we first started playing the game that the music never stopping.
Yeah. I had to turn it down.
Never stopped. The music never stopped.
Yeah. Always.
So yeah. Anyway, there's definitely two last things that I want to talk about for sure. I don't know which one you want to talk about first.
Oh, go for it. What are you talking about?
So I don't know which one you want to talk about first. We want to talk about some Keeley streaming, or we want to talk about some leaked release dates.
Well, let's talk leaked release dates. I didn't have anything queued up for this one, but let's talk about that.
So what happened was, and it's happened twice, honestly. So, and the only reason I can say twice definitively is because I heard it on another podcast that I listened to. They got an email mentioning an October release date for the PlayStation 5, and they were like, that's gotta be an error. Like it was in like the subject of the email, an accidental thing like that. And then another job listing has now been listed as a potential PS5 release date for October 2020. In this case, Sony did come out and say this was an error, but that's now twice that I personally have seen October, and I'm now beginning to believe.
Yeah, and October would be so good. I just had that queued up, by the way. So the application guidelines are like, hey, if you're doing a job description, you got to create this thing which will be released in October. So yeah, to me that was really telling. When you see something like that, it straight up says, hey, it's not like we need you hired by this date. It's like, no, we're going to have all this done, packed up, and shipped out October. If this thing comes out in October, first of all, I'm already ready to buy it. I know you are. I'm ready. Like, just tell me where to pre-order it. Show me that pre-order on whatever cart I need to hit, whatever website I need to hit. I'm ready for it. I know a bunch of other people are going to be ready for it. If it's October, then I don't know how to feel about the next generation of Xbox. Like, we've already talked about the value proposition. And we'll put it this way: both of these consoles, it's not an insane upgrade from the PS4 to the PS5. We're now getting diminished returns. Don't get me wrong. I'm loving what I'm seeing in the PlayStation 5. The stuff looks great, but it's not like the jump from PS2 to PS3 was. It's not as big of a leap. But at the same time, I'm happy about it. It's just a big price tag to pay for an incremental upgrade. That
I don't know about that.
I think it's incremental. It looks great, but I feel like it's incremental in comparison. But at the same time, we're seeing the start of this console, and this console may go. Let's see. So PlayStation 4. So almost 8 years, right? So this one may end up going 10. We don't know. Maybe they're going to have different versions, kind of like we had the Xbox One X we talked about Series X. There's probably going to be multiple versions of that. It may extend more. I'm just saying, like, I feel like it's not as big of a leap when it comes to graphics. It's still good. We'll talk about the reason I think it's going to be better later on in a bit, but I think the load times are going to be the biggest upgrade on this. The load times, the PlayStation 4 already does this, where you can download part of the game and go ahead and start playing it, and it's playable. But even more of that. The only downside that I feel like on this is like the hard drive is way too small. But I mean, I'm still getting one. I'm still excited for it.
The thing that I disagree on is that, well, I'll disagree because of what we're about to go into now, and what Tim Sweeney said in terms of we may not be getting it may feel incremental in terms of how things look, but how things run, it feels like huge.
Yes, night and day.
Because we got this awesome stream this week where Epic Games revealed Unreal Engine 5. And I felt a little bit like an insider, like I was at work actually, and I was in a gaming Slack channel, and this guy was like, buddy of mine just told me that they're revealing Unreal Engine 5 tomorrow, and I'm guessing he works in California. I can't be too sure about that, but like that's the first time I've ever had any news before it came out.
Yeah.
So I felt really cool, but dude, this looks
dope. I will say I was glad to share that, by the way, because you messaged me. I'm like, man, that'd be kind of cool. Then it's like Unreal 5. What? Like I was a kind of a really cool moment to be like, wow, that's exactly the thing that I didn't think it was going to be that you were given that. But yeah, it looks amazing. I love that they go in here to show like these are all polygons. These are all triangles, which are some of the size of a pixel or smaller than a pixel. When they said that,
remember the original Final Fantasy 7, dude?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I do.
Polygon.
Yeah, I do. Big old chunky polygons. So when he mentioned that, yeah, the rocks look amazing. The lighting looks amazing. When he mentioned, I did find it funny when he was like, yeah, these polygons, some of them are smaller than a pixel. I'm like, well, yeah, they're smaller than a pixel, but when you get closer to them, they it's obviously that's just what happens when you get further away from something. But the lighting, everything real time when it comes to lighting. He was showing how a developer can move the light. And I did play with Unreal Engine, the previous Unreal Engine, and I am not an amazing game developer or anything, but I played with it and I was like, okay, I get it. There's a lot of stuff you have to do manually. So when he's talking about, yeah, we're allowing you to do this, and this, like optimize, so you just have to worry about the art. You don't have to worry about the technical aspect, because you need to have obviously a blend of these things, but seriously, like it seems like this is so much easier to develop, which means that we're going to get better games out faster. The games are going to look good, but the games are also, it's going to be easier for the developers to work on them. And yeah, this by the way needs to be, like you said, this needs to be a game. I'm loving it.
So good.
It's a tech demo if you're watching, by the way, like a tech demo, which I would say some of the design choices that they chose, I was like, okay, that's a little safe. That's a little not necessarily generic, but it looked like a couple things that we know kind of mashed up. But at the same time, that this is a tech demo. It was specifically to show you, look how cool this is. The rocks continue to look cool. Like just everything about it.
Now I want to be perfectly clear, games are not going to look this good for a while,
Yeah.
if ever even. The thing about this is that it's possible. They made very clear, like in terms of like whenever they're talking about like the rock faces and stuff, they were using things that were generally what they said used in cinematics, and they kept referencing, if you watched it, I do encourage people to watch it, at least watch the demo, but they had a cool discussion afterwards. But like that Unreal 4 was used in making The Mandalorian. They brought that up several times, which is cool, so that like you see that this gaming engine, this video game engine, is being used in other ways. But the thing that made me excited about next gen, not only that does stuff like look awesome, like that's clear, but there was a couple of big quotes, and the biggest quote for me, Tim Sweeney, is over at Epic Games, and he's a big name that if you don't know him, you can up. But I wrote down the quote here: "The world of loading screens is over," and he was referencing the PS5 hard drive, and I think the idea is that it's that case on the Series X as well. They had a lot of great things to say about PS5, like. People are doing better marketing for the PS5 than Sony is right now,
Yeah.
but the fact that the world of loading screens is over. And I don't know if you've noticed in playing Final Fantasy VII, I know we keep bringing that up, but it's just the game that we're both playing right now, but there's moments where they purposely slow you down, like they make you go through like a little crevice or whatever, and you know why that is because they're loading the next area. Mm-hmm. Now imagine if you don't have that useless fluff in your video games because they don't have to necessarily do that on the back end. Or imagine loading Red Dead and having Red Dead just load.
Yeah.
Like just start the game and you're in Red Dead. Like that is awesome.
Yeah.
That's what super got me pumped. Like the small, tiny 800 gigabyte hard drive does not make me pumped, but after hearing what they're doing with that hard drive, fine, I'll do data management. I don't care. I know that they advertise.
Every time I hear you say, every time I hear the size of the hard drive, I'm like, really,
it hurts.
Like, seriously. And like you mentioned, they haven't even said that they have like certified external hard drives for it yet. They're going to. They're totally going to.
And they straight up said about the PS5 again that the PS5 is doing things that even PCs don't do in terms of how it's loading games. That kind of stuff excites me because games are probably still going to be big. I don't think a lot of developers are going to take advantage of the fact that they can make their games smaller, the compression of it. I think that they're going to take that opportunity to make the gameplay better and make it do, tighter things. So we're probably still I think we're still going to be getting these 100 gigabyte games. I just hope that Sony makes a PS5 like external hard drive that we can get, because they've also said that the current external drives that you'd be able to buy can't keep up with what the internal is. And not that you can't use them, but it's just you're not going to get that performance off of them. There was a couple other things that Epic said that people may not necessarily care about, but the only other one that I put in here specifically was that Epic, love them or hate them, they're doing some great things in terms of consumer-friendly practices. They have opened up, what they said is they're going to be opening up the way that their friend system works, and they referenced Fortnite as a thing, saying that right now you can use your account across 7 different platforms on Fortnite, and you can load your character, you can have all your progression that can be loaded instantly, and they are going to let developers use that for free. So they're saying they're kind of bypassing PSN and Xbox Live and whatever Nintendo Online's called. But imagine that. Imagine the cross-play capabilities that they're talking about here. Imagine cross-buy capabilities here, where if you bought from, say you buy Assassin's Creed Valhalla from Ubisoft and you pay maybe a little extra, maybe you pay an $80 thing for a cross-buy thing, and you're like, okay, I'm going to play on PC, and I got my cross-buy on my PS5, and all my stuff loads. That kind of thing was the other really exciting thing in terms of what Epic's doing, and a next generational thing where we're now starting to bridge that gap. There's always going to be console exclusives, otherwise consoles don't exist, but the multi-platform type games, that's exciting to me.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting. The we're getting to a point where the console platforms, they have their differences, sure, but at the same time, there's a lot that's bridging the gap. You're still gonna have fanboys one on one side or the other, but honestly, and I have my priorities and everything. But am I gonna get the Xbox Series X? I don't know at this point. Earlier this year, I was saying, yeah, I'm going to get one. Now I'm just I don't know. I'm going to get a PlayStation.
I'm going to get xCloud with Game Pass, though, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, like if and the xCloud Game Pass, yeah, that makes so much sense when it comes to being able to play it on my Xbox One X. That's why I'm like, do I want to get that, or do I just do Game Pass xCloud and just play off my Xbox One X? So
I even ordered this week. I went into Xbox Design Labs. I designed myself a little Xbox One Bluetooth controller, and I'll have that sometime next month. So I'm ready for whatever they want to do with XCloud. I'm ready for Game Pass on my PC. Whatever they want to do, I have a controller now for it.
Mhm.
It's a cool like cross slash of different shades of blue and white. But I'm hoping that the Xbox One controller also works for Series X level stuff, considering the only thing they did, I think, is they added a third button onto it. I don't think it's anything like the PS5 controller in terms of adding
Yeah.
a lot of extra hardware, but I could be off on that. But I'm ready for that. Or we've talked about, I think a week or two ago, the Lockhart dongle. If that's a thing, I'm buying that 100%. I'm excited. Like, if anything, if you want something to get you excited about next gen, look up this Epic Games. It's called Lumen in the Land of Nanite, or you can just look up Unreal Engine 5 reveal, and look up the Vimeo one, because the Vimeo one you can play on 4K. The YouTube one, as people probably know, Google has throttled their video streaming, so you can only view it at 1080. Which is still beautiful, by the way, but you can look at it at 4K on Vimeo, and I suggest it if you have a 4K screen.
I'm gonna have to do that because I didn't.
It blows you away. I posted it on my Facebook if you need a link. I'll try and post it on the LANCave too, just because
I should have launched that onto the TV, because I don't have a 4K monitor at the here, but yeah, totally down for it. And this is why I was saying, like, there's that diminishing returns with regards to upgrades right now, but taking advantage of this a couple of years from now, it's going to look amazing. And like you mentioned, the work that they did with Mandalorian using Unreal, because they were literally showing, they would have backgrounds that are I say projected, but it's on a giant LED screen behind them. I think that's LED. So instead of having green screen, they're like, here, this is the background generated in real time. You move the camera, it moves the background accordingly, because it's using Unreal Engine. It's amazing. So being able to do this, it's going to affect everything across the board: PC, consoles, everything, except for Switch. But I still love my Switch.
Yeah, the Switch. I think the Switch is doing so well on its own. It doesn't really matter. And if you're not ready for the Series X, honestly, the Xbox One X, there's a lot of deals going on right now. And I say right now, I just mean in general. But like, you can get the Xbox One X for as low as $3. And I imagine that when the Series X comes out, there's a chance you might be able to get the One X for maybe $250. And if you can get a One X for $250, that is a nice piece of hardware. The Xbox One S is already a great piece of hardware, but the One X is great. It's fantastic, and with Game Pass, it's just there. I highly recommend looking for that. If you don't, if you're like, wait for that Series X to come out and get that discount, because Microsoft is already committed to all their first party stuff is going to be cross-platform for at least 18 months. And I imagine that the support for these consoles is going to be going on at least for the next 2 to 3 years, just because of how things are right now, especially like economy-wise. Not to end our show on a down note, but with the economy, like, launching a console in a down economy is tough.
Yeah.
But if you take advantage of that from your perspective, get a discounted console that already has literally thousands of games on it, that you can get for a monthly price of, I think, $9.99. Like, there's a lot of opportunity for value there, if that's the kind of consumer you want to be. Obviously we could talk about PC and that kind of value too, but if you want the ease of the console like we do, look out for that cheap Series 1X for sure.
Totally worth it. So yeah, if you don't have one, and you're not ready to jump to next gen, that's gonna be the purchase of the holiday season. Anyways, what did you think about Lumen? What did you think about Unreal 5 being announced? All this amazing stuff. Still no gameplay for Valhalla, but a pretty good week. Let us know what you thought about that, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.